Okay, good morning, club members. One more Wednesday. I'm so excited to be here with you guys today. My name is Maria Cristina Valencia, founder and president of the club. And today we're going to have a class that I've been looking forward to having this class for a long time. And Maria and I have been trying to accommodate in the schedule. And the reason why I think this class is so important is because more and more so, we're seeing that transactions are falling through because of the fact that the buyer couldn't get it insured. There's issues with the insurance. You know, the insurance, as we all know, they're going off the roof in prices. What is going on with the insurance world and what is causing that? For that matter, today we have TrueView with us and we have Armani Montesan. I don't know if you guys remember him, but we've had a class a few months ago. It was one of the best classes that we've had at the club because it was a live hybrid class in which Armani and I were doing a real inspection and like a real live inspection. And I was following him with the phone and the camera, and you guys were watching this as we were going. And it was so much fun. And it was so, we learned so much from that class. So we're so privileged to have him back with us. Armani, thank you for your time. I know that you're going to kill it with this class, and we're so excited to hear what you have to say. As he does speak a little bit of Spanish, understands the Spanish. Ana Maria obviously is a fluent Spanish speaking. So if you guys have any questions or you need anything to be clarified, please do so. Please let us know because that's what we're here for you to have the best knowledge that we can possibly provide you. So let's get started. And also, if you didn't register for the two continuing education credits, two CE credits, you can still do so before 4 p.m. We will resend the link in the members chat, so you can do so. Don't miss it because it's a 2-hour credit that we're going to get from this class. So again, thank you so much, Ana Maria and Armani. The class is all yours.
Perfect. Thank you guys so much for having me again. It was a pleasure the first time. Like you mentioned, guys, please register so you guys can get your 2 hours of CE credits. And do not worry, if you guys are busy, we're not going to take the full 2 hours. We're going to knock this out. You guys are going to get a lot of really good information. Today is going to be top 10 insurance deal killers and how to overcome them. Just because you run into these red flags during your inspections does not mean you cannot get to the closing table, okay? So that's what tends to happen. A lot of realtors will see these things. Again, I understand they're massive hurdles, but if you now learn the steps to navigate this, you are 5 steps ahead of every other realtor. Because now that opens up a lot more inventory for you because people are dropping that inventory. They don't want to deal with it. But now you're going to have the tools that you're going to navigate this and you can close. So let me share my screen for you guys. Here we go. And by the way, if you do have any questions at all, please, by all means, chime in. I love an interactive class. Anna, if you could watch the chat for me. So if there are any questions on the chat, feel free to interrupt me so we can address all of that because you guys know how I do. I just talk and I talk and I talk. So yeah, guys, we're going to jump into this one. I am going to teach you guys little tricks as well to go about these because, again, it's a lot of information that we're going to be going over. So I don't expect you guys to memorize everything, right? So we're going to start with electrical panels. One of these reoccurring themes here in today's class is going to be a fire hazard. That's the main thing about today's class. That's why insurance doesn't like these things, fire hazard. And always keep in mind, the years that I am saying, they tend to overlap, okay? So whenever you are dealing with a home from 1926 to 1995, you should automatically have a little red flag go off in your brain that tells you, okay, I could have some of these problems in this home. And the name of the game for this is verifying that it's not the case, okay? That's the name of the game of today's class. Verify. Because you can have these problems, but if they're not active, it's not something you really need to worry about, okay? So I'll give you an example. These electrical panels, they are outdated. Again, insurance is not a big fan of these panels. To them, it's electrical fire, all these big issues. So you're going to see it a lot from 1950s to the 1980s. Just some of them to keep in mind is Zinsco, Federal Pacific, Sylvania, Stablock, Challengers. Those are, and even ITE. because I know they stopped actually making replacement parts for ITE. Now, just because you have an outdated panel does not mean you cannot close, right? And then now, of course, I named so many names here. So now you're thinking to yourself, man, I got to memorize all this. Absolutely not. So here's a beautiful little trick for you guys. You don't even have to take off the panel cover. You just need to open the panel. So if we look here at this example here, we have a Zinsco panel. Now, you can see that we have multiple colors on that panel. You can see we have some gray, we have green, we have red, we have black, right? So then now we move over. Here's two more examples. We have a Sylvania panel and a stab lock panel. So those, you can see that the breakers are black and red. So whenever you see colorful breakers, that is a huge indication that the panel you are working with is outdated. So the dated panels are nice, clean, black and white, okay? So that's a good thing to do when you're doing that walkthrough before you get under contract or you're going to get under contract. You know, just open up the panel, take a look at it so you kind of see what's going on here. And now, this is the most important question you guys are going to take from my class, okay? Whenever you guys do a home inspection and you are there at that property, that number one question you're going to ask that home inspector, is there anything negative on my 4-point that is going to prevent my clients from receiving insurance? Okay, that's the number one question you're going to ask them. I'm going to say it one more time because it's that important. Before they walk away from you, is there anything negative on my 4-point that is going to prevent my clients from receiving insurance? Because we all know without a clean 4-point. Sorry, is that a question? Came muffled on my thing, so I wasn't sure.
Si es que tienen preguntas, if you guys have questions, please put the little hand so we know that you guys need to ask questions and then we'll address it appropriately. So sorry, Armani, go ahead.
No, you're good.
So
You're good. I just wanted to make sure. Like I said, I love interactive classes, so.
En inglés, en español sería, ¿hay algo negativo en mi inspección o mi reporte del 4-point que pueda causar que mi cliente no le den seguro? Basically, ¿no es cierto? Okay. Just in case, Armani, we might have new realtors in this class, so you can just go over what the 4-point inspection is. So just briefly, para que les quede claro.
Absolutely.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
So 4-points, very, very important documents. So you have two insurance documents. You have the wind mitigation and you have the 4-point, okay? So the 4-point is what allows the client to receive insurance. So the 4 points are going to be the roof, your HVAC, your plumbing, and your electrical. Okay, so those are the big 4 points for that. And then as long as everything says satisfactory, your client can now receive insurance. The wind mitigation is the windstorm policy. There are 7 total credits on that wind mitigation. And for every single credit that they get checked off, they actually save money when it comes to their insurance policy. So very, very beneficial. But anybody that is not a cash buyer needs a clean 4-point to move forward. Always keep that in mind. So I get that question a lot too. It's, you know, Armani, should I do pre-inspection agreement? Pre-listing inspection? It's never a bad idea, but A, it's going to cost the same amount as an inspection. And B, you always need to remember that you need to disclose everything that is found during that inspection. So a good alternative that I like to recommend to people, if you want to save a little bit of money, is you get a 4-point inspection done. And the beautiful thing about that is it's pre-listing. So now you know if there's anything unsatisfactory on that 4-point, you have the wonderful thing of time to fix it. And that's the beautiful thing. And that's a great selling point. Now, when you're on the market and people are checking in the house, you can let them know, hey, we did a 4-point, you know, a month ago. It's good to go for insurance. So anything else we find is going to be more cosmetic than anything. So it's very beneficial there. Again, you're not spending so much money and you're not disclosing so much information, but you know, moving forward in that transaction, insurance is not going to be the issue here. Okay. And don't worry, in just a second, I'm going to teach you guys how to navigate these outdated panels. Okay. So we'll go to this next one here. So cloth wiring. I don't know if you guys have ever run into cloth wiring. If you guys are new agents, this is something you are going to run into in the future moving forward. Like I said, overlapping years here. So we have 1926 to 1965 is typically where you find this cloth wiring. Huge red flag for insurance because, again, fire hazards. So they're really good insulators. A great indication is they look like snakeskin. So you can kind of see here, kind of almost looks like scales on it. So that's a good way to identify them. You can kind of see here, it's nice and thick here. So like I said, they're fantastic insulators, but the issue with cloth wiring is when they begin to fray. So you can see a really good example of this right here. So of course, these wires are transferring electricity, so they get very hot. So these are the portions, the frayed portions is what catches fire. Okay, so that's why insurance doesn't like it. But here's the important part. You need to verify whether it's live or not. That is a huge thing for you guys, okay? Because sometimes what tends to happen is people will come to rewire the home. Majority of the time, you're going to find that cloth wiring up in the attic because that's where they run all the wiring. And so what electricians do is they will cut that wire and they staple it about every 16 inches or so. They're not going to pull it out and take it out. So they run the new wire and they leave the old one. Okay. So we had this scenario happen. It was one of our realtor friends. She got super lucky. I will tell you at the end of the story, you're going to see how lucky she got. But this was before COVID. She put her home on the market. Someone came, did an inspection. It was a different company. They found cloth wiring. Of course, the buyers backed out. They didn't want to do it. So she called our boss and she's like, I don't understand. I rewired this home in 2006. I shouldn't have cloth wiring. So as a courtesy, we went to that property. Like I said, one of the best is up in the attic to see them. So my boss went up and he moved some insulation. Big thing here, don't ever let an inspector touch your insulation. That will disturb the R value. But he did it as a courtesy to a friend. So it's a different story. But he ended up finding the cloth wiring. And when he further investigated, he noticed they were cut. So they were never live. So she lost her deal because the inspector never verified whether it was live or not. Now, this is where I say she got lucky. It was about a $3 million house, and we all know how the market changed after. It jumped to 6 million. Ooh, that she won the lottery basically, because that doesn't happen every day. So this is the thing here, guys. Every single inspector, they have a non-contact voltage test meter. Okay, so it looks like, hang on, let me get my insulin pen for you guys. It looks like this, like a little insulin pen, right? They put that on the wire, and if it's live, it makes a beeping sound. It goes beep, 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 right? So everybody has that. But I'm going to tell you guys the reality. Majority of inspectors, a little cowardly, right? We all have kids. You know, when you say, oh, did you brush your teeth? And they go, yes. And then you walk into the bathroom, it's bone dry. That's the same thing that an inspector will do. You're going to ask them and say, hey, did you test it? They're going to look at you and go, absolutely. Because if that inspector tells you no, what's going to happen now? You're going to discredit the rest of their inspection. So this is how you're not going to step on anybody's toes, but you're going to verify whether it's live. So when they come up to you and they let you know, hey, you have some cloth wiring in the home, you're going to go, beautiful. This is what I want you to do. Do me a favor. Can you get your phone and your non-contact, and can you record a video for me so I can share it with my buyers? Simple, easy. You're not discrediting them whatsoever. Even if they didn't check, now they're going to go get a video for you. And now you know whether it's live or not. There's no beeping sound, you know you're good to go. It's not a live wire. But if it goes off, then we got to rewire. But verifying is the name of the game. I cannot tell you how many deals have fallen through for inactive cloth wiring. At this point, it's unacceptable, you know? So always make sure you verify, ask the inspector. They should have the non-contact voltage meter, and follow up and make sure. All right.
I know that you are gonna explain everything about the brands for the electrical panels, but Aida has this question. She said that some insurance company doesn't accept some brands. So I don't know if you can explain about that now.
Oh, literally my next one. Literally my next one.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. So very good question. Absolutely. And this is kind of what I was talking about earlier, where I said sometimes insurance agents are not quite educated. So us personally, we have gotten into it back and forth with some insurance agents because, again, everything is lightly taught. You know, if it's this panel, it's outdated, it's unacceptable. But what we need to do is break down the 4-point. That's the problem here. We need to understand the verbiage and what they're asking for. So whenever it says unsatisfactory on that 4-point, the inspector has made the decision for insurance not to insure your client. It's already automatically done. They're going to see it, unsatisfactory, and they're going to look at you. And the way that they're doing it now, you have to fix it and send the contractor's license number and a paid in full invoice. That's a headache, guys. That's why when you send it to insurance, you want it to say satisfactory already. Okay. So now this begs the question with the brands, right? Here, now we're getting into it. So you're there at the property. The inspector walks up to you and says, you have an outdated panel. You're going to go, okay. Remember the question I told you guys that you're always going to ask. Is there anything negative? What are you going to put? Satisfactory or unsatisfactory? If that inspector looks at you and says, unsatisfactory, you're going to go, okay, quick question. So this is the electrical section of the 4-point. You see this part here that says hazards present? You're going to go down that list with that inspector. You're going to ask them, hey, is there blowing fuses, tripping breakers, empty sockets, loose wiring, improper grounding? You guys get the gist. You're going to go down that list. If that inspector says, no, there's none of that, they have absolutely no reason to put unsatisfactory, because the reality is the sellers have had insurance for all these years. There hasn't been no fires. And if the brand was an actual hazard, it would not be under supplemental information. Notice that's the only place that it asks for brand and model. But if that's the thing to destroy your deal, wouldn't you assume that brand model would be under hazards? That would make more sense, but it's not. That's only supplemental. So if it's a bad model and it has these hazards, different. You need to switch, you need to fix those hazards. But if none of these are present, there is no reason to have unsatisfactory. Like I mentioned, they were installed back in 1950s. We're in 2024. Where are the fires? They only happen because of hazards when it's done incorrectly. But this is the problem, like I told you. Becoming a home inspector is quite easy. You do 120 hours, you take a test, bada bing, bada boom. But the problem is, it's based out of Colorado. We're in Florida. We deal with different issues. So that's why the education level for some inspectors stops at one point. There's nobody there following up with them saying, hey, this is changing. This is changing. This is okay. No one digs deep into these things. No one reads the 4-point to break down specifically what they're looking for. It's almost like the FCAT, right? Where they kind of throw a trick question to you and you're like, ooh, it's like a brain teaser. It's the same thing. Sometimes people don't fully read what is being asked. So like I said, you guys don't need to know everything on a 4-point, but you need to know what should be and what shouldn't be on it. Simple as that. But that's the reality of it, guys. If there's no hazards present, there's no reason not to insure you. The sellers that have that exact panel have insurance. So it doesn't quite make sense, you know? And like I said, sometimes people aren't going to be educated and you are going to have to give a little bit of pushback, but understand this is the reality of life, you know? And if you end up teaching the other person, hey, even better. Now you just helped somebody else. All right. So how many of you guys have dealt with polybutadiene plumbing? Right? Poly's an issue. Huh? So you will find poly from 1978 to 1995. This is going to be on the later end of the spectrum here. As you notice, all the other ones were 1926, 1950s. This one goes all the way up to 1995. So just because you're at a house in the 1990s does not mean you're out of the woods, okay? So the thing about polybutadiene is gray in color. It's very, very flexible. Insurance does not like them because they fail. They randomly fail. And I'm going to tell you why they fail. Do you guys see these joints here? Those are copper rings, okay? So when the plumbers install it, like I said, this material is very flexible, but we all know copper is not. We all know that copper is it's a tough material. So when the plumber goes and they crimp it around that plumbing, what happens is it creates hairline fractures throughout. And they're so tiny, you're never going to see it. You're not going to see the water. That's how tiny they are. But we all know water is the bane of every home's existence. Water created the Grand Canyon. It doesn't stop for anything. So what happens is those little hairline fractures has now basically messed up the material, its integrity. It's not as strong as it should be. And it could be in a month, it can be in 6 months, it can be in a year, 5 years. You could be walking and drop a broom by accident. All it needs is a little love tap, boom, and they burst. That's why insurance doesn't like these. And this was the problem. As you look at the years, this was the main thing for new construction for many years. And so this is how we figure out what has problems. They have to install it. And over years, it was a reoccurring theme here where they kept bursting. Like there's a neighborhood in Miramar that the entire block is polybutadiene plumbing, because that's what they typically use. So the best places to kind of see them is underneath the sinks, the toilet, and a lot of the times you can also see them at the water heater, okay? And so I want you also guys to keep in mind, whenever you're looking at like a bathroom and stuff like that, and it falls into these year ranges, what happens a lot of times is people do not replace all of the poly, like behind the walls. And what they'll do is by the toilet, they'll cut a little bit and they'll add about 6 inches of copper, okay? So that when the inspector comes, they only see the copper. Because again, it's behind the wall, we're not Superman. But a little indication is if you grab that pipe and you start wiggling it, if it wiggles a lot, there's a good possibility that you still have poly behind and they just changed like a few inches. Because again, copper is not going to be as flexible as that, okay? But now you guys need to know the difference between poly and then the acceptable material PEX, okay? PEX. So PEX is acceptable by insurance. This is the new practice that they use for new construction. So you are going to see this in all these houses now, okay? A great indicator for PEX is red, blue, white, and on rare occasions, they're going to be yellow, okay? So this material, you're A-okay, but whenever an inspector tells you, hey, you have some poly in the home, ask for a visual picture, ask for them to show you in person, whatever the case may be, because like I said, verifying is the name of the game. Some inspectors do not know the difference between poly and PEX. So you don't want that coming out to your deal, where they come in, they tell you have poly, the buyers back out, then you realize it's PEX, okay? And I understand we all learn through failures, right? That's the best way to learn. We don't learn when we win. But you don't want this inspector learning on your dime, okay? So it was funny. We actually had this scenario with my boss before the company was even started. He went out to do an inspection. He said, oh, you have poly, and he left. The owners called and they said, look, I have the plumber here. They replaced everything. Could you come back? If we're wrong, we'll pay you for your time, but the plumber wants to speak to you. He goes, okay, I might be getting paid. Shows up to the property. Man, that plumber had a stack of papers like this that said Miami-Dade approved. And that's how he learned. He had to tuck his tail between his legs and go, absolutely, I was wrong. But we never made that mistake again. And like I said, you don't want a new inspector making this mistake on your deal. So it's very good for you guys to know it. Because when they let you know, now you can verify. And if you see it's blue, you see it's red, you see it's white, you let them know Armani from TrueView said that this is PEX and it's absolutely okay. And you can give them my number and I'll speak to them. Okay? All right. So now I know this is what everyone's thinking. What the heck do I do if I run into this? What do I do? I got you covered, guys. I got you covered. So this is straight from Citizens, okay? I'm going to read this verbiage to you. Straight from the Citizens website. Non-weather water-related losses will be subject to a $10,000 limit. I don't know if you guys have ever done anything with water, like any water damage, but $10,000 is nothing. You're not going to get very far with that, okay? So whenever you run into, you can do this for poly, you can do this for outdated panels, whatever the case may be. You can do it for these things. So you get two options, okay? So you can do a exclusion policy, like a water exclusion policy. They don't care about what you have covered as long as the numbers make sense. Okay, that's what insurance is looking for. So if you do have poly or something like that, you just do a water exclusion policy. They will completely remove that. Now you receive insurance. You do the necessary repairs in the home, and then you can endorse it back into your policy after, once you have it fixed. So that's very beneficial there. Another one that you can do now, this is more for your clients that have a little bit more capital, a little more flexibility. You would go with a builder's risk, okay? So the builder's risk is the specialized one. They will cover you for an entire year while the home is under construction. So the only cons with that is, yes, it's more expensive. And if you are done within 7 months and you decide to change your policy, you do not get your money back. But those are the two options, so you can still get to that closing table. You either exclude it, endorse it back on later, or a builder's risk, and then you do the necessary changes and construction, okay? But like I said, builder's risk is with a little bit more capital, okay? So most likely it'll be exclusions and things like that. There we go. So aluminum wiring, all right? We're going to see this a lot from 1960s to 1978. The big problem with it is that they overheat. Like I said, recurring theme, fire, guys, fire. But just know there are two types of aluminum wiring. You need to verify which one is at the property because it is important. There is a difference. Stranded wire, you're good. Stranded aluminum wiring, you are A-okay. Do not panic. If you have solid wire, that's a different story, okay? So the issue is, again, this is a lot of electricity coming in. So the solid, they get very, very hot. They turn orange from all the heat. And stranded's okay because there's so many different strands that it has more surface area. And because of that, it can disperse the heat easily. So that's why stranded is okay. A lot of the times you're going to see it at the connection in the breaker. You can see it circled here. They always cut a little bit of the wire so that you can verify what they have. So typically you're going to see like copper. You can see the copper wire over here. But then you can see these are solid aluminum, right? So now solid aluminum again is you're going to have to rewire that. But there is an alternative. You don't want to spend as much. Oh, sorry about that. There is an alternative if you don't want to spend so much, and they're called Alumicon connectors. That's over here on the right-hand side. It's these guys. So it's this little bit, and what you do is you connect the solid aluminum into a copper wire in here. So that makes it okay. So it's a good alternative that you can do instead of rewiring the whole home. You can always get some Alumicon connectors. They're not terribly expensive, so it is a little bit of a cheaper alternative for this. But yeah, always ask them to look really quick. When they tell you, hey, you have aluminum wiring, go check. Go make sure there's no stranded. Because if it's stranded, you're going to be like, dude, this is fine. This is fine. All right. So always verify, ask them, ask for a picture, or if you're there in person, just take a look real quick. All right. Double tap circuits. I don't ever want you guys to worry about double taps. Okay. Double taps are one of the easiest, simplest deficiencies to deal with. Okay. For those of you that are new agents, double tap essentially is two wires going into one breaker. You see a really good example right here. Okay. So that should only just be one wire there. Okay. Remember, this is a lot of power going in. This is how you get breakers that trip. This is how you get scorching. too much power, too much amperage that it cannot handle, okay? Like I said, big potential fire hazard. In the event that you guys have a double tap, we do not need to do a reinspection, guys. We're not trying to rob you. We're not trying to take more money than necessary. If you see on your report you have a double tap, just fix it. Look at the report. Look at the pictures that we had added. You know, it's typically going to be to the left, to the right, and straight on with the panel off. Have the electrician or whoever you come and take the picture for you if you're uncomfortable. Send us those pictures and we'll update the report for you. Again, this is a small, easy deficiency, but I'm not going to charge you more money for us to go back out there. If you look here, this is straight off of like Home Depot. They're $6. Ignore this one. This is a special breaker, $60, but they're typically $6, $7. Super easy, guys. Super, like you can even YouTube this and do it. It's really not like a difficult process. Again, liability reason, don't YouTube it. Just call somebody. But what ends up happening is that if you send out this 4-point, right, and it says, hey, it has a double tap on it, and it says unsatisfactory, instead of you being able to just get it fixed really easy, no big deal, now insurance says to send me the contractor's license number and a paid in full invoice. That's just extra work, extra steps for you guys. So that's why you always want to send it nice and clean to insurance. Always remember, insurance has 10 days. The underwriter has 10 days to review your documentation to tell you yes or no. And so they're really breaking that down. And I'm going to add this as a little tip because this is part of my other class, but I feel like it should be part of this class as well. Please, 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 guys, don't ever hit the forward button and send all your reports to insurance. That is asking for a can of worms to open up on you, okay? Insurance, only wind mitigation and 4-point. Remember, we're all people. We're all a little bit nosy. Like I said, they have 10 days. And if you send them a full home inspection, do you truly believe they're not going to look at it? They're absolutely going to look at it. And now I'm going to give you guys a pop quiz. Let's see if someone gets it right. I've only had one person get it right. Actually, 2. I had someone get it right yesterday. There are 3 answers to this. So somebody can get it here. What is found on a full home inspection that is not asked for in insurance? And think of something that can kind of throw a wrench into your deal. I'll take one answer and then I'll give you the 2 other ones as well. Think of something like, ooh, I don't want to see this. This is going to give me a problem. Anybody?
Appliances?
Appliances? No, no. Think a little like a big problem, something that people are scared of.
That is not required for insurance?
It's not asked for in insurance, but it's found on a full home inspection.
Mold?
So I'm gonna play off you a little bit and help you out, right? Appliances start leaking. Water leads to
mold.
Let's go. Exactly. So that's an example of when you send out that report, possible mold is found on a full home inspection, but they don't ask for that on insurance documents. So they will send you remediate the mold, which we all know mold remediation is an absolute nightmare. It's very expensive. They have to do a lot of containment, and wherever they find the mold, they need to cut 2 feet in every direction. So it's a nightmare. Another thing that is found in a full home that is not found in insurance is WDO damage. For those of you that are new, wood destroying organisms, termites, carpenter ants, things like that. That is found on the full home, not insurance. And I'm going to give you guys one more because why not, right?
Yandy says termites.
Huh?
So go Yandy. Yandy says
Yeah.
termites.
Oh, let's go. All right. So we got 2 for 2 today. I love it. I love it. Can anyone guess the last one? I don't know. You guys are on a roll. I'm gonna give you a chance here.
Usted is saying asbestos.
Asbestos. Okay. I mean, that is found on the report and that can definitely throw a wrench. Yeah, I'm gonna add that. Okay, so we got 4 answers here. I appreciate you guys going in on this. All right, perfect. So the last one, guys, the last one here is cast iron pipes. that is not asked for in insurance, okay? Cast iron piping will throw a huge wrench into your deal. The reason why I say that, cast iron was installed back in the 1950s. We are in 2024, and they have a 50-year lifespan. So they are well beyond their life. So that's what we're trying to avoid there, okay? That can 100% eat your deal. And I'm going to have another pop quiz at the end of this. I just want you guys to be prepared. But yeah, guys, double tabs, don't worry about it. Super, super easy. Just get it fixed, send us the pictures, and we will take care of the rest and send you a nice clean one, okay? But whenever you see something that says unsatisfactory, try to fix it and then get a clean one before you send it out. Yeah, I promise you it's going to save you a world of headache, okay? So this was a little bit of a mess up here. I know it says June 1st. The reality was January 1st. So just, bear with me here. But this is, again, now we're getting into roofs. I know this is the big question for a lot of people. What do I do when it comes to roof replacement, the documentation, the whole shebang, okay? So they will accept the documentation if they have an approved building permit indicating that completed work, an electronic record of the permit on the county website, and then acceptable proof of completed work by a licensed contractor and a paid in full invoice, okay? So you're gonna hear that last one if you send any unsatisfactory. They're gonna ask for those fixes and that paid in full invoice. So now they require the roof permit information for any home that is 25 years and older that has a rolled roof and or shingles, okay? Now they require it. Same thing goes for a home that is 50 years and older, that has tile or metal or any type of roof material like that. 50 years, boom, they require that roof permit information. So as realtors, whenever you guys know you are getting on contract, right? Okay, we're gonna go sign the contract today and get the whole process going. Start asking for the roof permit information immediately. Ask the sellers, ask the listing agents. You need to get on top of it as soon as you can, okay? So I'm gonna tell you the issue here, right? So when we see here on the second one, it says electronic record of permit on the county website. So we use BuildFax, okay? It's like Carfax for buildings. You have to pay for it, but it has the permit information. Sometimes it does not have all of it. This is why I'm saying, I'll give you the example. The city of Miami only holds records from 2010 forward. So if you have a home that is from 2009, you now are required to go in person and ask for that documentation. Now, you guys are realtors. You guys are one of the busiest people on this planet. You got people pulling you left, right, calling you, emailing you. I need you at every hour of the day. Do you really want to go spend that time while you're going down to downtown or wherever you got to go to the building and wait in line, ask for this permit information? That is eating your precious time, okay? So that's why you want to jump on top of this as soon as possible. As soon. Ask them, where is it? Because it happens all the time. We come out as inspectors and we have to start asking the listing agents and the buyer's agents, where's the roof permit? We looked online, it's non-existent. Oh, I don't know. Guys, you guys, everyone got hired for a reason. Listing agent, buyer's agent. They hired you for a service. And sometimes, like I said, it's the little things that set you apart from other realtors. And that's what happens. People overlook, like we were talking about earlier in the class. Sometimes the difference can be being on time and being 2 minutes late. It's the little things, but they remember. People remember that stuff because at the end of the day, people remember the way you made them feel. And when you give somebody respect, they carry that with them. Okay. Sorry, I'm like going off on a life lesson too. Oh, I'm telling you guys, I talk. All right, so now it begs the question, guys, right? What if it does not have the roof permits and all that fun stuff, right? What are our alternatives? I know this says that the 4-point needs to reflect 3 years. This was another hiccup. It should be 5 to 4. 4 is like bare minimum, guys, bare minimum. 5 is our magic number here, okay? Anything less than that, insurance does not like, okay? So that's the big issue here. Now, if there's no permit information, You got 3 options. I'm going to say 2.5 because the last one, oof, is hard to get unless you're like a friend of the person, okay? So you can always use a completed roof inspection form. That is perfectly acceptable, beautiful. A 4-point inspection form. Like I said, clean 4 points, very, very important, but you can use that. Now this last one, I have only met one realtor that was successfully able to do this. And then I asked the most important question, was that your friend? And they said yes. So kind of tells you everything. A statement from a licensed roofing contractor. Do you think any roofer is gonna put their license on the line? Because what if, I'm gonna paint this scenario for you. What if they write that documentation for you and a month later a storm comes? Now what? And it messes up your roof. They are now held liable. So in reality, like you might get lucky, but the first 2 is probably gonna be your safest bet, okay? So like I said, I mentioned here, underwriters take 10 days to view this documentation. Now, I'm sure you guys won't believe me, but these 2 pictures that you see here, they got denied by insurance. Okay? Exactly. They look for anything to say no. So we're going to start with the top one. Have you guys ever seen a tile roof that didn't have a cracked tile? I have seen them installed the day of at a new construction with cracked tiles. And so what insurance doesn't understand, the tiles, the shingles is decorative. That is not what protects the home from leaks. What truly protects the homes is the underlayment. So this material is to protect the underlayment from the earth, the elements, the heat, the rain, the wind, the snow. That's why they have it on top. Okay, the underlayment is what truly protects it. So that's why it's a little kind of crazy that insurance is like, I don't like that. We're going to cancel that. So I know we have to pivot. We have to get creative. And I know this is going to sound a little bit crazy, but if you know the inspection's coming and you know you got tiles like that, hey, if we have to, let's glue them together. So at least it's a little crack, but it's visually more appealing. So we can now close. Sometimes we have to do that. Same thing with the bottom photo. Guys, have you ever seen a flat roof without ponding? And for new agents, ponding is this. It's this dark spot here. This is indicating that water was sitting there, okay? I'm going to tell you right now, virtually every single flat roof I've ever been on had some level of ponding. They're never sloped properly here. That's always the case. And so these people had a tree here to the left-hand side. And so that's what all that is. It's not rust or anything. Those are leaves, okay? And insurance denied them because of this. And if we look at the rest of the roof, it honestly doesn't look all too bad. I mean, there's a little bit of granule loss, but nothing too serious. And so, like I said, we need to get creative. We need to pivot because insurance is not working with us. But we got to get smarter. We need to evolve. So I know it sounds insane again, but if you know, okay, my inspection is coming tomorrow and my roof looks like this, hey, maybe pressure wash the roof the day before. Make it a little pretty. If you have to, get up with a broom and sweep up all this leaves and get them out. Like I said, it's the little things. Yes, it's going to be a little bit of effort to get it done, but it's going to get you to that closing table. And I understand sometimes, hey, you close in a week. Awesome. You don't got to do too much. Sometimes it's months. Sometimes it's years. But we got to do what we can because we don't want these little things. Again, it's little small things that throw a wrench in our deal. And now we got to move on. And it's all this work that we did, all this effort, really for nothing. So whenever you have a case like this, and this is why we put tree overhang. I don't know if you guys have ever seen that on a report. I used to get told that by realtors, why do you put that? It's pointless. It's not pointless. The reason being is that all of those leaves, they carry moisture, guys, and that deteriorates the material so much quicker. And it also brings pests into your home. So if you guys have ever been on your roof and you have a tree overhang, you're going to notice that under that tree is going to be significantly worse than the rest of the roof. Because all that moisture and when it's rubbing and all that, again, just deteriorates the life there. But we got to be very creative when it comes to these roofs and things like that, because again, insurance is not working with us. So we need to continue to evolve here. All right, guys, this is our next pop quiz. So this is the plumbing section here. The name of the game here, guys, is do not volunteer unnecessary information. This is bad. That's why when I say when you're looking at this documentation, you need to read the verbiage, understand what it is they're asking for. So we got another pop quiz. Right here, types of pipes. Okay, guys, types of pipes. So we have copper, PVC, galvanized, PEX, polybutadiene, and then there's a little check mark that says other, and then this inspector wrote cast iron sanitary piping. So here's my pop quiz for you guys. Don't worry, you're not graded. Everyone's passing today. But can anyone tell me the difference between all of these pipes versus cast iron? Anna, you know the answer. Let me check the chat really quick, see if anyone chimed in there. No? All right. Don't panic, guys. Don't panic. Oh, I got somebody. Heavy metals, cast iron will kill the deal. Will definitely kill the deal. You are definitely right about that. And I mean, it is heavy metal, so I love heavy metal music, by the way. Sorry, I had to throw that in. You wrote that. All right, so here's the answer, guys. This is it. But I like that. Those are good answers, guys. So the difference is that all of those first pipes that I just named, the copper, PVC, galvanized, all that fun stuff, those are supply pipes. That brings water into your home. Now, a cast iron pipe is a drain waste pipe. That's what takes the water out of your home. Yeah, there we go. See, now we all learned something very valuable here. And that's what we can assume. That's what we can break down, right? So this is kind of the problem. This inspector volunteered that information. And this is why I'm saying as realtors, you just need to know what shouldn't be on, just to kind of protect yourself so you can review really quick and you send it out. Because this now is a fix it, paid in full invoice, license number. Okay. Like I said, cast iron 1950s, it's well over its lifespan. Okay. So if they wanted to know drain waste pipe, they would have added that. They wouldn't have just only named supply pipes. So now we can assume they did not want that. Okay. And then I'm going to add this other thing to you guys. You cannot determine the drain waste pipe unless you do a sewer scope. Okay? The reason being, the way that we identify this as home inspectors is we get on your roof and you guys have a vent stack. And we look down that vent stack to see the material. Now, like I said, this is a drain waste pipe. Nobody, and I'm going to say this one more time, nobody ever changes the vertical stack because it's pointless. The water is not going there. It doesn't matter if it rusts. People only change the horizontal stack. Okay, so without running the camera, I cannot confirm fully if it's cast iron or not. Because a lot of times you run the camera and once you get 10 feet down, it's PVC. And then you keep going another 6 feet and then it goes back to cast iron. So that's the only way to truly verify what type of pipes you have. And then I get this question. Oh, I get it all the time. Armani, if I have, PVC, do I still need to do a sewer scope? I recommend it. And it's not me just trying to grab more money. I'm going to tell you the reason why. Because everything, we got a reason. We live in Florida. One of our most popular trees that we have here are palm trees. Palm trees survive hurricanes. That means their roots go deep into the ground. I have done sewer cameras on PVC where the tree roots have gone straight through the pipes. And here's the worst part. If I go do a regular inspection and I flush your toilet, nothing's going to happen because the water is going to flow right through without an issue. But the second your client moves into that property and starts flushing toilet paper down, that's where you're going to get the phone call saying, all my plumbing is backed up. How come you didn't tell me this, and that? So sometimes it's beneficial. Every client should have some amount of capital saved for the inspection period. This is the last point to ever be cheap and try to save a penny. Because remember, this is the largest investment of their life. And so I would much rather personally pay $300 to have someone stick a camera down the pipe so that I can back out and potentially save myself from a $20,000 bill. All right. So always be careful with this information. Review it before you send it out. Just make sure they're not adding extra things that can, again, come back and ruin your deal here. All right. Do I have any questions from you guys? Here's my information.
Yes, the roof expectancy. You were saying that insurance likes to see that at least 3 years, 5 would be ideal, right?
So
But
that 3 was a little mess up. So 5 to 4. That's
okay.
those magic numbers there. Yeah.
But really, I mean, what's the life expectancy of the roof? Is like 20 years, 18 years? It's like,
It
debatable as
it
well.
depends on the material. So rolled roofing typically goes from like 15 years or so. Shingles go to about 20 years, and tile and clay and all that fun stuff. By 25, we already have to say that it's end of life. But their lifespan for insurance is 30 years. But I'm going to tell you the reality is they're graded for 50. So
The title one?
the tile and metal, they're supposed to be 50, but insurance kicks it at like 30. So at 25 years, whenever it's about 5 years, we have to report that it's end of life. It's just a must for us, you know. But that's typically the way it goes there. So depending on the material, and that's why like rolled roofing is the cheaper material, but you see the lifespan is less. So that's kind of the
Right.
way it is. Yeah.
And you said like 15 years,
Yeah.
the road roofer? Okay, great.
Sergio,
I don't,
are you asking me if we do commercial roofs?
Sergio, si puedes hacer la pregunta tranquilamente.
No, para saber específicamente cuántos años dura un commercial condo roof.
Well, that's always a tough one to say. I mean, we do commercial properties, of course. So we would just have to kind of pull up their permits and see when the roof was done. That's really the big thing here. So if it is a commercial property, absolutely, we can check it out and get it done for you. If you're doing a condo unit in that building, then we most likely wouldn't be checking it because it's, the buyer's only getting that specific unit. But if you are booking commercial, yeah, it's all dependent. We would have to pull permits for that for sure. What do you know about window replacement programs? I don't know full like programs about it. I will say, having impact, any glazed opening impact is vital to save money. If you do not have that, it's 20% more of insurance a year. Okay. So I don't know any personal programs. The best advice I can give you, if there is one window that is not protected, get it protected, because insurance is an all or nothing deal. So if you have 9 windows protected, but one door with glass is not protected, you don't get the credit. Like you don't even get partial credit. You get 0 credit. So buy shutters, get a shutter hole, whatever you got to do. And then you do the wind mitigation just to show that everything is protected. Because it is ridiculous that they do that, and make sure that they say Miami-Dade approved on them. A lot of people don't like to have the stickers on. That's fine. We try to help you guys out. A good practice is if you are replacing them, just take some pictures, guys. we can use that for our reports. You can throw it away after, but just take the picture that says it's approved, save it. So when the inspector comes, you'd be like, oh, right here, they'll take a picture, you're good to go, okay? And then also keep this in mind. When you have shutters, if it looks like they have like dots on them, like a pattern, I guess that's the best way I can describe it. If it looks like a Dalmatian pattern or whatever, it's not Miami-Dade approved. The panels that are approved are gray and just normal like that. So if they have any weird pattern, just know, oh my God, this is not Miami-Dade approved. And then clam shutters don't count either. Accordion do work, but just make sure you keep the, sorry, I'm ranting off again. But these are good questions. I like it. I like it. Hopefully I answered everything for you. I do see you sent the link. Oh, that's for the registry. Okay.
See, yes, I don't know. We might not have members of the club here in this class. We open our classes to every single realtor that wants to join. So no sé si todos los que están aquí son miembros del club. Por eso es que no recibieron el link para tener los créditos de educación continua. So if you guys are not members of the club, feel free to log into that link and get your CE credits. And for those of you who are members and who have still not done so, you have it in the members chat or you have it right there. No sé si es que tengan
Thank you
alguna
for
otra
following up with
pregunta.
that. I appreciate that.
Yes, of course. I mean, take advantage of it. You know, we always need to, the CE credit. So this is wonderful. No sé si es que tengan alguna pregunta en inglés o en español, quieren que se les aclare algo. Creo que fue una clase súper entretenida. Oh, Ana Maria, are we going to be able to get a copy of this PDF, as a PDF report? Is that possible? Since there was a lot of valuable information. What do you guys say?
I can probably, because this is I don't have ownership, but I can always screenshot for you and send it to you. So that's not a problem.
Oh, that is awesome. Thank you so much, Vijay. Well, I'm sure that the members will like to have the slides. If you can do so, that would be wonderful. If we can get a copy of that, or at least some of the, previous information. I was taking a lot of notes, but it's always good
beautiful.
to have it.
I did see you writing a lot, so I was like, that's good. That's
good.
Good.
Yeah. I like when I'm in class, I'm in class. When I'm teaching, but this one I'm your student and I love it. So thank you. I don't know if you guys want to clarify anything. If not, I want to let you know that to follow up with this class, next week's class is going to be about insurances. We're going to have an insurance expert. So you guys can combine all this knowledge to take advantage of this knowledge, because as Armani said, the more you know, it sets you apart completely from other realtors who do not know this valuable information. So I cannot thank you enough, Ana Maria. Armani, is always a pleasure. We look forward. We have a little surprise for you members of the club. We might have a live event on the 26th of December, which is going to be fabulous. We'll keep you posted about that info. And oh yes, I have a question. Who's that? Yurwani. Yes. Go ahead. Te escuchamos, Yuriani.
And thank you for the positive feedback, guys. I appreciate that. Glad you guys had fun.
I have a quick question.
Yeah.
Do you hear me? Yes, I have my baby here, so I'm so sorry. If I have two windows that are leaking water from the outside, that will be, a problem with the report and with the insurance. It's a combination.
They don't ask for that when it comes to insurance. No. Again, as long as you don't visually see it in the picture, you shouldn't have a problem. The best advice I can give you is probably it's time to recaulk those windows. That is a typical little maintenance thing that gets overlooked. And it's super cheap to do. You'd probably $20, you probably do the whole house. But over time they do deteriorate, and that's where a lot of the times the windows leak. So that would be my best recommendation, but that shouldn't give you any problems when it comes to insurance.
Okay, thank you. I do work with TrueView a couple years ago, and I wanted to know if you're still including the reports, like an estimate of the repairs.
So we
I used to do it like that before, a long time ago, but now I haven't seen a TrueView inspection in a while.
Okay, so we actually started a new program 2 months ago, I believe. It's called HomeBinder. And so what it does is it does two different things, right? So you and the client receive a link 10 minutes after the inspection. Your client receives a home OS, a home operating system. It tells you who the realtor was, so your information's there. Thank you, Jose. Appreciate that. It tells you who the lender is, tells you who insurance is, the whole shebang. Everything about their home is there. And then it also has maintenance reminders like, please change your AC filter. And your information shows up. So it keeps you top of mind for them, just in case they need you for anything in the future. And then you guys receive a link 10 minutes after. It's a repair list. So one of the biggest things that we hear all the time is, estimated repair costs are not accurate. So that's why we're trying this. So this is a third-party company that they strictly only do estimated repair costs. So it's AI powered plus real bids from contractors, which makes this 96% accurate. So we give immediate report delivery. This takes another 24 hours, and you have two choices. I want the whole report or only select items, and it's completely free. In 24 hours, you'll receive it. Or if you really, really need it, I think it's an extra $39 and you get it 4 to 6 hours. So those are kind of the options there. So, if you get us to do an inspection day one, boom, you have your report. You can look through it, speak to your client, put in that order as fast as possible. And by next day, boom, you have it already with a breakdown list itemized. Because remember, ours was like a little range,
Right.
From 100 to 600. This one is step by step. The outlets are this much. This is this much.
Wow, that's fantastic. And it does give you also the contact information of the provider or the vendor who can do the job, because we get that all the time. Who can fix this for me? Do you know a handyman, plumber, electrician, whatever it is?
Yeah.
And that's also a chaos to refer people.
I know that's the big issue, and we are trying our best to accommodate that. The big problem that we are running into is that we are terrified because we don't want to recommend somebody.
Liability. Yeah.
I can't
I'm with you.
confirm their quality, I can confirm us, but for them, I would hate to recommend somebody and they do a bad job for you. That's the only issue with that. Yeah.
But at least we get an itemized quote of exactly what is the cost. That is fantastic. Eso está buenísimo para los que escucharon. Ahora Review nos da este servicio adicional que a las 24 horas podemos recibir un reporte con todo detallado de lo que hay que reparar o cambiar en la propiedad, pero ítem por ítem, exacto de un contratista, no del inspector que nos da un rango. Así que eso está fantástico. Thank you so much again. Gracias de nuevo. It was a fantastic class. I'm so looking forward to seeing you guys on September 26th. We will keep all our members posted and enjoy the rest of your day. We look forward to the next class on Wednesday. Don't miss it out, guys.
I love it. Have a great day, guys. And
Bye.
again, thanks
See
for
you
joining.
soon.
Appreciate it.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Gracias. Bye.
Yeah.